Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We're here for another match of the Sevens. This one, it is Fiji versus Spain. Now, Fiji managed to get themselves the win in their first matchup. That was up against Great Britain. For the Spanish, they were defeated by South Africa, but a very valiant effort from the Spain side, losing by just the 7 points up against a real contender. And at the Blitzbot side, looking through at the starting lineups. First of all, for the Fijians, it is Josefa Talatholo, Seven Mothanothangi, Jeremiah Matana, who was also captain for Fiji, Ioane Temba, who had a solid game in the first match up against GB, Taria Vailawa, Vuiviwa Nadovalo coming off a hat-trick in his last appearance, and George Balsi, last man in the starting lineup. For the Spanish, they have got Bozel in the starting side, Joseph Ceres, Eduardo Lopez, Juan Ramos, Coscuela, Urea. And we're just about to kick off. Fiji going from left to right. That came around very quickly. There was hardly any break between these two games. But we're now underway. This is a must-win for Spain. And you could argue a must-win for Fiji as well. If they are able to win this contest, their battle up against South Africa should determine who finishes first. Nice cellular dummy from Vuiviwa Nadovalo. Can't quite get through the Spanish defence. Fiji 40 metres out from their own line. Talatholo trying to find an offload. He had 3 men on him and still managed to get that ball away. Bit of a loose one there for the Fijians, and a penalty goes the way of Spain. So a great start to the contest for the underdogs in this matchup. And now they have to make the most of it and turn it into points. We have got Let's Go Fiji, says Rehan there. What games are you looking forward to tomorrow for the URC? I'm looking forward to the Stormers game in Ulster. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the South African derbies. Both of those games are expected to be relatively close. Ulster's game should be good as well, though. And I think a few of them I'm going to have to watch on the replay rather than live just because of the times that they do start. Currently, 1 minute gone in this contest. Spain, they've got themselves the ball in hand, looking to shift it away to the right-hand side, and that ball's going to be dropped out wide. Bit of a mistake from Ansor. That's the type of mistake you can't make up against Fiji. You have to be clinical, scoring when every opportunity arises. It's something maybe that Spain in their game up against South Africa, they had some great moments where they did that, but then they also had times where their line-out was probably their biggest letdown in that contest. I believe they lost 2 of their own feed, and one of which actually led to South Africa scoring a try. So they certainly can't afford that here. Fiji, they've got the scrum feed just outside of their 22. Rio Vailawa asking for a penalty. I don't think he's going to be getting that. Going off to the right-hand side. Moving this one across. Nice step there from Ioane Temba. He's going to try and back his pace, and he gets around the Spanish defence of Juan Ramos and will score it between the posts. Sunday Rugby tomorrow, says Reed. It is indeed. And it is the second day of the Sevens that will be taking place as well. We get to see the semi-finals as well as the final around the corner, although that actually takes place Monday morning for us here in New Zealand. The question is, will Fiji be in that final? At the moment, with the way that they're playing, you'd have to say they've got a pretty decent shot of being able to do so. But it's a good finish from Ioane Temba. Has managed to score that try. And it is a nice, easy conversion too. That is something that, of course, Fijians would love to do all throughout this competition, is just add those additional 2s when they're available. Now kicking this one off high, bouncing awkwardly. Seven Mothanothangi slapped it back, but it went straight into the hands of Juan Ramos, who slapped it back to his teammate, but it ended up going to Vuiviwa Nadovalo. So a turnover for both sides in quick succession. Ioane Temba takes the quick dip. He's got 4 men on his outside. Doesn't look to use them as of yet. Now he's running it sideways. Pops it on the inside to George Balsi, who shows off the fancy footwork, and he will score try number 2 for the Fijians in this match. Of course, that top of the table clash just around the corner that will be taking place between Fiji and South Africa, or at least it looks that way. Points differential could be relatively crucial heading into that matchup, but that is some very impressive stepping from George Balsi there. Making the score now 14-0 in favour of Fiji. Do you see the Sharks beating the Stormers tomorrow? I think they've got a decent chance. They've got Edwell Funamurva back out on the wing. Got a lot of box in their backline, including Grant Williams and Andre Esterhazen playing in there. So I would say that they, even though they're considered underdogs, I don't think they're huge underdogs heading into that match. I think they've got a really good shot of being able to get something going there. Now it's going to be kicked off. Nicely taken. Maybe a little bit of an early tackle there from Jeremiah Matana. And the penalty does actually go in favour of Spain anyway. That was for no clear release on the tackler. Juan Ramos. He will kick this one towards the sideline. Now this is the big question. Can they get their line out right? They lost 2 up against South Africa. Will the Fijians put that little bit of extra pressure on just like the Blitzboks did? I would say absolutely. When you got Josefa Talafolo, his limbs are extremely long, so you chuck him up in the air every single time. And the ball, it was stolen by Fiji, but then the foot was in touch, so they will go back for another scrum here. Or line out. I think it is line out. It is the call. What about Leinster? Do you think Edinburgh will win? That's a game that I'm hoping to catch a replay of, to be fair, because it should end up being a really good game, but I do think that Leinster should be too strong in that contest. Nice attack and run from Juan Ramos. Goes off Joseph Series. Now away to the right-hand side. This is the chance for Lopez and the Spanish to get on the board before the end of the first. Now slung back across to the left-hand side. They scored first in their game up against the South Africans in both halves. Now back across again. Joseph Seres goes to Ramos. Nice step back on the inside. Balsi hits him with a high shot. And Spain, come on. Says Kodum there. Going back for that penalty advantage for the high shot. Come on, Spain. Says Kodum in there too. But 80 seconds remaining in this first half. Spain still yet to score themselves their first try. But they don't look a mile away from it. Definitely if Fiji give away 1 or 2 more penalties, it could get very intriguing. Head towards the later stages of the game. Going away to the left-hand side. Skip pass. Chance in the corner. And it's going to be scored brilliantly done by Joseph Seres. He got crushed by Seva Muthunafungi in the process of scoring, but it is still the try. And it gives Spain a little bit of a lifeline in this game. And the Stormers kind of have to win if they lose. They are more than 1 game in hand behind behind Glasgow. That is a good finish from Joseph Seres. Sit in the corner. Apparently it has become a bit of a back and forth contest once again. And I will mention for the men's games, the only game separated by 7 or more was that match between Australia and France. That is a great kick from Spain right near the touchline. Of course, Fiji have been scoring them between the posts, but Spain, that one was nowhere near an easy kick, and he's made it look easy. Make it 14-7. Offload there as well for Spain as they manage to retain their own kickoff. 5 seconds remaining in the first half. Go Fiji, go. Says it is Makireta. Now passed on the outside. Valencia's bumping off one of the Fijians. That's not easy to do, and normally the shot comes in afterwards if you try and do so. Now backline again. Rush defense from George Balsi. And just to get rid of Eduardo Lopez. Now good pressure in the breakdown from Fiji. They forced the handling error from Trevor Fick, and that will be halftime now in this contest. 7 points to 14 in favour of the Flying Fijians. Second half just around the corner. Spain says Kodin there. Go Fiji, go says Vrina. And Tosa Bulatoso says Sock in there. And also go Fiji, go a bit earlier on too. Yeah, it's going to be intriguing. Second half, we saw Spain score first up against the Blitzboks in their initial game. They did lose that game by 7 points, which was a much thinner margin than a lot of people did expect. It just shows the skill level of the Spanish side. They have beaten Fiji before, although last Singapore Sevens, I believe this was the final that did take place. Streaming, depending on where you are in the world, depends on your options. Rugby Pass TV, I believe, have it in some locations. And the World Rugby website used to stream these games, but now they don't seem to, which I think is a massive shame. They've talked about how they're trying to grow the global audience of Sevens. The best way to do that is make the games readily available for anyone who wants to watch them. But yeah, most of them are behind paid subscription services. Unfortunately for us here in New Zealand, it's part of Sky Sport now. Second half. Fiji, they have got themselves the 2 tries so far. Ioane Teba has got 1. And George Balsi, the other. And then for the Spanish, we saw Joseph Seres. He scored the most recent try. What is your sleep schedule? You are always covering games in the middle of the night. My sleep schedule is extremely broken. And that's probably about all I should say. But there's a lot of trying to catch up sleep at random hours. And then there's also a lot of like having to catch up sleep a couple days later after doing an all-nighter. They are just showing South Africa versus Great Britain. That game is kicking off in 12 and a half minutes time. So it's actually been slightly delayed compared to when it was initially going to be starting, I believe. But now ready to kick this one off. It is Juan Ramos to get us underway in this contest. Fiji leading by 7. That hurts the Spanish. The ball has not travelled the 10 metres. And it's going to be now the scrum feed for Fiji. How your uncle, Hamish? Which uncle are we talking? I assume you're talking about the one from the original cricket video? Or are you talking about the one who came on the stream for the, like, talking about the Crusaders? I've had 2 on the channel, fun fact. Now going off to the right-hand side. I've just mentioned there that Fiji have never lost to Spain in Singapore. But notice how they didn't say they've never lost to Spain in general. That is going to be a great run, though, from Tario Vailawa. He gets through, and that is try number 3 for Fiji. Should just about be enough. It's once again between the posts, though. It's very strategic from the Fijians, making it nice and easy for the men taking the kicks. It's annoying when there's a game you want to watch. I would have said an annoying time. Like it's too late to stay up, but too early to get up. Looking forward to the Six Nations next week. Says Kahu. Yeah, see, those times for us here in New Zealand are pretty rough in terms of when some of those games are starting. Did your team win in the cricket? My team that I play for didn't, but my junior team that I coached did. So 1-1 for today, which isn't too bad. We'll take that. Tosa Fititoso says it was there from Viraivalu. Have I said that correctly? Hopefully I have. But yeah, Fiji scoring a very good try from Tario Vailawa, giving them now a 21-7 lead, which I think is enough. Up against the Spanish side, they are very much a momentum team. If you give them a lot of possession, they will make you pay eventually. But I just don't see Fiji giving up enough possession throughout this last 5 minutes. The only thing that would change it is a yellow card for Fiji. Can you speak Spanish? Not really, no. I only like maybe a sentence, but that is a knock-on from the Spanish. Right, time is off, and they are now making the subs for these two sides. Like I mentioned, GB versus South Africa is just around the corner from taking place. That will help determine whether or not South Africa are going to be 2 wins in a row heading into that next contest up against the Fijians, or whether they will be trying to get that redemption and work their way through to the semi-finals. Do you think the Blitzboks will win? I'd be surprised if they didn't. But I've been surprised in sevens before. Isn't Ireland versus France on Friday in New Zealand? It certainly is, yeah. At 9:10 a.m. on a Friday. Now Tario Vailawa just about to put that ball in again. Oh, that one's gone right back out the same channel that it went in from, but the free kick goes the way of Fiji. Okay, I think Fiji were calling for a scrum. Referee said you can't do that, it's a free kick. Now Tario Vailawa, it looks like he is going to be going for the quick tap here. Going back across to the right-hand side. Fiji get themselves one more. They can keep on increasing that points differential, although it will all come down to who wins in that game between Fiji and South Africa, I believe, anyway. Now an attack and run again. Well, the man who made his way off of the bench. That was almost a cut through there for Tera Wailangi. 5 metres out from the line now for Fiji, Jeremiah Matana. It's a penalty advantage, and it's a double blow of the whistle and a yellow card for one of the Spanish players. Is it Thursday night in South Africa? Yep. So it will be a Thursday night 10 p.m. kickoff for you guys in South Africa. So a bit of a rough time, really, in terms of, like, if you've got a, like, morning start on Friday. Daveta, he will make his way on now. And it's the debut on the HSBC Sevens for that man. Juan Ramos is going to be off the field for 2 minutes now. And that is about all the advantage that Fiji could ever ask for in terms of being able to up that level of aggression and perhaps just up that scoreboard that little bit further. And we'll go like that. And we'll go like that as well for the score. So you're not working Friday. Friday here in New Zealand, I believe, is a public holiday. So not many people are working. Avanaka Kiwi lad says, Where Valu. Yeah, we are going to be here for that next game, Fiji versus South Africa. It's a bit of a brutal time in terms of when it starts New Zealand time. It is going to be happening at 12:46 a.m. and I believe that is the same time in Fiji. It is happening too. Now going off the back here for Filippo Bukayaro. Stepping on the inside, Terawai Langi. 2 meters short now. That's a deliberate knockdown. Or at least it looked like one from Spain. Now the referee goes back and calls it. The assistant referee gets involved. And this sounds like it's going to be another yellow card. Yes, it is. It's Francisco Coscuela who has to make his way from the field. And now that means that Spain's playing with 5 here. Who do you think will win the Six Nations? I think England have a decent chance, to be fair. Which I know isn't a popular opinion because everyone seems to hate England. But I think they're going to be pretty handy. They're more France. I think Ireland's just having a little bit too much of a problem at the moment in terms of the players that they've been losing just before the Six Nations. What holiday is it? It is Waitangi Day. Now ready to feed this ball in. Filippo Bukayaro, 2 meters out from the line. 50 seconds left of Juan Ramos's yellow card. They go short side. No one's out there. And it is Bongi Nasoko who does manage to score his second try of his opening tournament. And that should just about do it in this game. I mentioned the last one seemed like it should have been enough, but that one definitely puts the icing on the cake for the Fijians. They're up to 26 points now with not much time remaining in this contest up against Spain. I have to say it should be fairly certain for them to go on from here. And that kick has gone over too. That's a brilliant strike from the sideline for Fiji. 28 points to 7 now. The first round, all the games were close. The second round, we've seen 2 out of the 3 games be one-sided. Question is, will that South Africa versus Great Britain game also fall into that category? Bit of a counter-ruck there coming from Fiji in the breakdown. Spain still trying to find an attacking move with the 5 men on the field. Very much so going to be a tough day at the office, but Fiji have given away the penalty in the breakdown. Juan Ramos will be allowed to make his way back out onto the field now, and if they're strategic and wait that little bit longer, Coscuela should also be able to make his way on to the park as he only has the 5 seconds remaining. Go Fiji, go. It's there from Kalera Wangabatha. Hopefully I've said that correctly. And we have got there. Hi everybody, it's me, says Bruce. Welcome in, Bruce. Hope you're doing well. I'm sure you are excited for that game later on between the Stormers and the Sharks. We'll be covering that one on the channel too. It will be the last one of the evening live streams that we've got. Of course, plenty of sevens taking place tomorrow as well. With Fiji getting their second win, it is looking pretty certain that they'll be making their way through to the next stage. Their semi-final, it will be taking place tomorrow. We will be also covering that one on the channel. Oh, nice work there in the breakdown. Beautifully done. And, oh, did he score that one, DeVetto, or did he knock it on? He grubbed it out of the back of the breakdown, so he was allowed to go for it. They're just checking to see whether or not he's knocked that one on. Willie said, you are amazing, brother. Thank you very much. And yeah, we're going to be here all throughout this weekend, as well as next weekend for the Perth Sevens. That's a little knock on. I'm not sure what he was claiming in that scenario. He was trying to say that he scored it, but I think that was maybe he thought that there were no cameras that were going to show that he clearly knocked that one on. Bullabula says Anas. And also go Fiji go, says Bowish. And go Fiji go, says Mike Kelly. Now 45 seconds remaining. Spain are back to 7. It will be a 5 meter scrum feed here. So they got a long way to go up the field, but 28 points to 7 is a pretty handy scoreline at the moment for this Fijian team. Like I mentioned, increases that points differential, builds confidence heading into that next match. I wish I just completed an 85-hour fast, so you're probably due for some food then. And Olanas says Sok. Now Juan Ramos, the yellow-carded individual from earlier on in this contest, does get his hands on the ball. Going away to the right-hand side to Jamie Manteka. Now, he didn't actually start in this contest. Instead, they decided to bring him off the bench. It's another knock on from Spain, then a knock on from Fiji. So with 20 seconds remaining, Fiji have got themselves a scrum feed. Is South Africa in the Perth Sevens? They certainly are. And the question is, will they be number one heading into that competition? I think at the moment they got a pretty good shot. That is if they beat Great Britain in the next game. If they don't, then it gets a little bit more intriguing. But that contest is kicking off just around the corner. Toso Vetitoso says it was there from Makeri Tavuna. Hopefully I've also said that roughly correctly. Normally it takes me a couple times to get some of the names rolling off the tongue. Or Fiji just decide to kick that ball out. That's a very calm end to the contest, I have to say, for this Fijian side. Normally they would look to get that one last try, but they are winning this game 28 points to 7. Next game, South Africa versus Great Britain. That is coming up right now, so we will be going over to that next live stream. So be sure to follow us over there. Mike has said good commentary. Thank you very much, Mike. And yeah, we will see some of you guys for that live stream later on tonight as well between Fiji and South Africa. That will determine who is the top of this group. But I will see you all for the next one.